Welcome everyone to this week's Fish Friday video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 17. And I apologize, but probably the most boring Fish Friday we've done. We are going to be talking about one of the most common fish in the world, especially in North America. They've been moved all over. But many people who have grown up fishing probably remember this being one of the very first fish they caught, if they knew what it was. And that fish is the, right here, the bluegill. Bluegill, very variable. This is a big bull male, so you may not think of it this way. Most of the time when you catch these or you see them, they're going to look more like this or like this. This is your probably more standard looking one, especially in like a lake setting. Anyway, bluegill, Lepomis macrochairus. Lepomis macrochairus, they are part of the family Centrarchidae, which is the sunfish family. Most of the species in this family are your sunfish, but it also includes your black bass. So, you know, your largemouth bass, your smallmouth bass, that's actually a part of this family of fish as well. This fish is native to North America. They were primarily only found east of the Rockies. They had a big range. They were very, very common east of the Rockies. I don't believe they were very common in the coastal states of the Atlantic side, especially when you get farther north. But towards the mid-range they were. And of course, we have transplanted these everywhere in the freaking world. And we'll get into that a little bit. Now, as far as identifying this fish, there's a couple of ways. There's a couple of different keys you can go. They have this black opercle flap, so this bone, is covering the gill. They have this black spot at the end, and it's got a soft tip. It's hard on the inside. They got that black, it's, black, no color in it or anything. They have a black spot at the base of the dorsal. It's kind of hard to see on this one, and obviously you can't tell on this one from this picture. You can kind of see it here. A better way, you can see it here. You see this black spot right here. That is, characteristic of a bluegill. But it's very important to note that it's a black spot on the caudal, not on both the caudal and the anal fin. That's a different fish. As you can see, the chin is kind of bluish, and it extends onto the bottom of the gill flap, which we believe, scientists believe, that's where the term bluegill came from. As you can see on all these. They also have this yellowish to bronze orange breast, even on when they're not in breeding colors. A little bit of color right here. You see that one's pretty orange and bronzish. That one has a different color. And as you can see, I just pulled this up. As you can see, there's a bunch of different variations. People have caught different ones. But they all have that kind of characteristic there. That's not a bluegill. Anyway. So, highly variable. I should also mention they usually have these bars on the side. I want to say between 5 and 9. You can kind of see it here. It's very easy to tell when they're freshly wet. You can even see the bars here, the bars here. So, it's one of those things. That there. All right. It's not that blue, but it's pretty blue. It's pretty striking, actually, the coloration of these fish can get. Something else to note: they have a terminal small mouth, and terminal small means it's at the very end of their body, facing forward, and it's very small mouth. As you can see, so right here, that's a tiny fly. You're talking about a hook that's probably that big. That fish, it looks like it's covering its mouth. It does not have a big mouth at all. And if you hold one of these, it's very noticeable. As you can tell right here, that mouth looks like it'll barely open up to the size of his fingernail. So, However, that's not to say that these don't get big. These can't get big. Most of the time, these are going to be 4 to 12 inches. That's a big range, I know. For my non-Americans, that is between 10 and 31 centimeters. But they can get up much more than that, talking about 16 inches, which is super uncommon, especially when they have been stocked into lakes and they're living at deeper depths and they're able to grow to that size. The largest one was caught in 1950, and I'm sorry, I forgot to put in my notes where it was caught, but it was caught in 1950, and it weighed 4 pounds, 12 ounces, or 2.2 kilograms. I want to say it's like 2.16 kilograms, but I just kind of rounded it. So 2.2 kilograms, and that doesn't seem like a large fish, but when you're talking about most of the time, them weighing less than half a kilogram, that's your average. That's actually an enormous fish. Something that is interesting that I actually did not know about this is these have a very small home range. So, your home range is the area that the fish will inhabit for most of the time. Kind of like their home. That's where they stay. And these fish have a home range of about 320 square feet, or about 30 square meters. That's their measurement during non-reproductive months. In reproductive months, they're going to be going traveling around looking for potential mate. Now, what their diet is, they'll eat pretty much whatever they can get their mouth around. They eat mainly aquatic insects, but they will eat fish eggs. They'll eat small minnows if they can get a hold of them. But primarily what they're eating is bugs that are on the surface. So small flies, small gnats, small mosquitoes. That's primarily what they eat. And actually, it's very common for fishermen to hear these you hear a sucking sound, and that's them coming up and basically swallowing the insects right on the surface of the water, and it creates that little pluck. I can't make it, but it just sounds like a little suck, just a quick whop suck sound. But just because that they only eat small things, it doesn't mean that they don't eat a lot. And it's been shown that a population may eat 6 times its own weight in a single summer. And that, I mean, a population, not as individual fish. So these are congregating fish. They're schooling fish most of the time. So you imagine you have 30 fish, 30 bluegill, and they're all averaging 1 kilogram. So that'd be 30 kilograms of fish. They may eat 180 kilograms of bugs, insects, aquatic vegetation, fish eggs in a single summer. So 3 months. That's actually a pretty incredible amount of food when you think about it. Now, something to note that these are capable of swimming backwards. Not all fish can swim backwards. They have extreme control over all of their fins, which allow them to kind of slowly move backwards. They obviously cannot go forward at the speed. They cannot swim backwards at the same speed they can going forward, but they are able to drift around and look and just keep bobbing up without keeping their eyes on a certain thing. But something to note is that these fish do exhibit incredible acceleration, and that is because they have and they exhibit this in a C-start escape method. And a C-start escape method is kind of what you would think that most fish have, but not all of them do. A C-start is your fish is going straight, and it sees a predator. It's going to make a C with its body, and then it shoots one way or the other, which is actually an incredible way to get away from predators if you're a fish. Because now that predator's coming at you, it doesn't know if you're going to make a C this way or I can't, but a C that way. And then after that C response is done, not only can it do this, but it can go straight. It can power itself to go straight. It's already turned, so it can go left. Or it can just quickly come back around and go basically backwards. So it's making the predator guess where their escape route is going to be. Because once they start, they don't really have too much turning. I mean, they'll do another C, and they'll have to change some sort of direction. Now, when we get into spawning, males make spawning beds. They actually look like craters in the bottom of the river. They'll just small gravels. They'll clean out a little section of all the dirt and debris. And they are very, very territorial of these spawning beds. They will attack anything that gets close. Then a female will come in and they'll lay their eggs, and then the males actually chase the female away, and the males take care of the eggs until they hatch. After they hatch, they're on their own, you know. But now, as far as lifespans, these fish usually live 5 to 8 years, but they can get past 11 and beyond. Things like that. Like the betta, don't remember about that. I have to look into that, Junior. But it's actually pretty common for males to take care of young in the wild or in the fish world. But I'll look into that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, they are everywhere. They have been stocked. They are in every single state except Alaska in the United States. And they're probably in damn near every country in the world. They have been moved everywhere. The reasoning for it is these are a very popular forage fish. So people that want to make bass in their ponds or make big fighting fish in their ponds, these little guys breed so much and so often, and they're so easy that they're stocked for food for those bigger fish. But there has been a lot of people that also go after these for fishing. These guys are actually pretty fun to fish for. Probably if you go with super light tackle, you know, if you're going after them with big bass tackle, you're not really going to catch them. However, if you're going after them with a fly rod, they fight really, really, really hard. Like, they are actually really fun to fish for. And just going to throw this out there, they're probably one of the better tasting fish out there. Just saying. I enjoy them. But other than that, they're everywhere. They're one of the most common fish, especially in North America. There's not a whole lot particularly interesting about them other than the fact that they do so well in so many different areas. Yeah, the problem with this is, and the one reason why it was hard for me to get excited about this Fish Friday, you don't want to know how many I've seen. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen things. But thank you guys so much for stopping in. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I would really appreciate it. Please, guys, leave me a comment if you'd like to see a fish. Next week, we got a saltwater fish, and I don't have one lined up. And don't forget to check out our new series, Herp Mondays. I think I have a good one for you guys next Monday. So please take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.